Clayton Bates here, one of YouTube's only registered and authenticated Shopify experts. And in today's video, I'm going to show you this PDF that Shopify just released for speed, how to optimize your speed. It's a very overview sort of document. So as we go through it, I might actually put some input on what's worked for our clients and stuff. We've actually generated hundreds of millions of dollars from websites we've built, and we've optimized hundreds of websites. So I probably have some really good examples as we dive through. Like always, if you leave a comment, I'll answer any comments. And if you want more help, I have a free school community and I have a free video review audit that there'll be a link below and I'll talk more about it. So let's actually jump into the video and go through this document. So how do you manage the trade-offs? And basically speed on your website is a balancing act between what converts and what is fast for your website. So for example, if your website got 0 out of 100 and never make a sale, if it got 100 out of 100, it'd most likely never make a sale either. What helps convert people into customers sometimes slows down your website also. So this is a really good place to start. One thing to really remember before I actually dive into this is that, just for example, having reviews on your website will slow down your website. But if you have slightly slow it down. But if you have 100 product reviews on the one product, that's going to help the conversions. Now, normally, if you have 10 things that slightly slow down the website but help the conversions, it'll probably be okay. But if you had 50 things that help conversions but slightly slow down the website, then that's probably going to impact your speed heavily and actually hurt the sales sort of thing. So that's why you have to balance these things up. And normally, if you want a free video review of your website, there's a link below. If you want me to actually review your speed, when you actually fill out the form, just say, can you do a speed audit also? And I'll do that for you, no dramas. Yeah, so this is a good line. Whether you prioritize sales, growth, customer retention, or international distribution, speed is essential to success. So basically what I said before. All right, so why site performance gets harder as you scale. This is a really big one that some of our larger clients, it's hard for them to sort of understand, because at $1 million plus a year, it's probably hard to actually get a super fast speed score on your website, because you're adding so much to your website to help convert people into customers. And for example, at $1 million, people are probably spending a few $100s to $1,000+ on apps every single month to actually convert people into customers. Because at a certain level, it makes sense to spend this extra money. Someone watching this might be $1,000 a month on apps, but what if you spend $1,000, right? And that $1,000 made you $40,000 a month. Would you still do it? Most likely, most people are going to do it. So when you keep stacking these things on top, it really hurts everything basically. So for example, you might have 1,000 product reviews. Another example is you might have an upsell in your cart, or you might have a really cool cart feature that slows down the website a little bit. Then you might need other apps for affiliate marketing, for wholesale. There's so many different things that can go into it. Email marketing stuff, pop-ups, different things like that. All right, so they sort of put this performance issues as you grow. Infrastructure issues, yep. Asset size and formatting issues. This is a really big one, especially if you haven't done an audit or went through your website for a couple of years, which is pretty common for some big businesses. Code bloat issues. This is a big one too. Sometimes, this is a great example. So I ran into someone making millions of dollars a year, and they hadn't updated their website for 10 years. So 10 years they hadn't updated their website, and you can imagine after 10 years how much code bloat, random things have been added, product descriptions are different and stuff like that. So when we actually rebuilt it, got rid of a lot of the junk code, made it more modern and stuff like that, they actually made an extra $25,000 in 1 week. So it's pretty crazy when you think about all these little things. So over time, this stuff really hurts you. All right, so the next one, third-party app issues. This is a big one too. Sometimes over time, you might actually find an app that's better for you and it's faster. It does a lot of the same things. A lot of the times, for most things, there'll probably be like 10 apps that do the same thing. And over time, one company might really optimize their app to be really fast, a lot better, better functions, things like that. Even a new app might come in, sort of thing. So even just relying on the old apps and things like that, there might be a better solution. So this is a big issue too. The next one, page weight issues. And basically what this means is just how much information is on a page. So for example, if you go to your about page, for example, right, and there's like 100 images and 5 videos and different things like that, that's going to weigh down the page a lot. A lot of people do this on their homepage as well. Another really important page is they'll load it up with heaps and heaps of videos, heaps of images, things like that. When there's a really cool structure that you can follow for a homepage that I found that works very well in all niches. If you want to learn how to do that, my school group below can teach you how to do that. Configuration issues. Yep, this is another big issue. I can talk more in detail about this, but it really goes into a couple of little advanced things. And architecture issues is sort of the same as well. If you haven't updated your website in a couple of years, you really should speak to a developer. I've made a video about that. I'll leave a link below about how to hire the right people and stuff like that for your website. This is a problem that grows with complexity. As brands grow and become more sophisticated, their websites become richer. The richness usually comes with a price. Unless you are actively paying attention to your speed, changes will slow down your site. Here's a little thing you can do as well, is send yourself an email and then snooze it for once a month. So it's like, hey, check speed. Can we remove any apps or something like that, where once a month you just do a little audit. What we actually do for some of our clients, normally the ones $1 million plus a year, is once a month we'll actually go through for 1 or 2 hours, just go through their website, go through all their products, make sure they've added their products properly, went through their apps. Is there any better ways we can do it? Stuff like that. Check their speed, things like that. So definitely, I think just snooze it or set an alarm or whatever works for you. Find what works for you, because if you leave this for like 1 or 2 years, it literally can cost you thousands, tens of thousands, and maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars. All right, site performance and core web vitals. A lot of people don't really understand how this works. If you're relatively new to site performance, which you probably are if you're watching this video, the metric names might feel like minefield of acronyms. These include first contentful paint, FCP. When the browser is render the first bit of content from the document, object modern, DOM, giving the feedback to the user that the page is loading. Largest paint, LCP, approximates when the main content of page is visible to users. Speed indexing measures how quickly content is visibly displayed during page load. Lighthouse captures a video of the page loading in the browser and calculates the visual progression between frames. Total block time measures the amount of time that the page is blocked from responding to user input, such as mouse clicks, screen taps, and keyboard presses. Time to interact, measuring load responsiveness. It helps identify cases where a page looks interactive but actually isn't. A fast TTI helps ensure that the page is usable. Community layout shift. Quality, quantify how often users experience unexpected layout shifts. A low CL helps ensure the page is visible, stable. With this one, basically what happens, and a lot of people actually get something wrong that I'm going to explain, is when someone lands on a page, what it loads at the top really impacts how fast people actually see stuff. So this is a great example in what so many people do when I actually do free video reviews of their website, link below. When you land on their homepage, they have like 10 slideshows at the top, 10, 5, whatever. And what actually happens is when they land on the homepage, it actually has to load 10 high quality images, and that's really going to hurt the load speed. What I normally recommend here is you just go one banner image on your homepage, the absolute best image on your website, because you really want it to be fast and you don't want to have like a million things loading all at once at the top. Another issue is people put videos at the top. Now, sometimes videos can be okay at the top, but they can also hurt the load speed sometimes. There's a few different ways you can do this, but if you really want to have a video and you're not 100% like, should it be on the top, maybe put it in the middle of the homepage so it can load all the top first. And then when they get to the middle, they can watch that video. All right, so what tools can you use to measure performance? So this is what page speed insights look like. So what I've done here is Mr. Beast, this website here, I ran a speed test through the website just to see what it's getting. If you notice, there's quite a bit of stuff going on the website. So when I ran the speed test here, it was like 56 out of 100 for mobile. Everything else was pretty good, which I was actually surprised about. And then desktop, 87 out of 100. It's a little bit easier to get a better score on desktop, but this is a pretty good result. Now, most people actually looking at this, they're gonna see 57 orange and think, oh, this is not good. And that is just not the case sometimes. A lot of websites making millions and millions of dollars a year, their speed score for mobile is like 30, 40, 50 out of 100. I think Amazon is like 30 out of 100 on mobile. But sometimes the bigger the business, the more they can get away with speed. But this is actually a pretty good result. And most people are going to look at this and be like, this is bad, but I think this is pretty good. Now, can you improve it? Yeah, 100% for sure. But sometimes people get caught up in, I needed to be super fast, when, like I said before, it's really a balancing act of what is fast and what converts. I thought this was really cool. And by the way, I've skipped some of the sections as well. How Sunday Citizen improved conversions by focusing on performance, 25%, improved CLS by 61%, that's pretty good. Decreased bounce rate by 4%, increased in conversions by 6%. That's actually pretty insane. That's pretty good. This is a little cool stat. As of August 2023, 42.3% of all sites fulfill the core web vitals assessment. 58.27% of Shopify storefronts pass. That's really insane, actually. I did not think it would be that high. There's no way. If you asked me before I started filming this, there's no way I thought that would be the case. All right, so 8 tips for optimizing your store performance. Number 1, prioritize loading above the fold. So the fold is like what people see at the top when they're on their phone or on their desktop. And like I was sort of saying before, is that if you have 10 slideshows, that's above the fold. When someone lands there, it's not going to be that great for you. A little fun fact here is that if you have a slideshow at the top, 98% of people will see the first slide, 40% of people will see the second one, 10% will see the third one. Most likely 1% of people are going to see the fourth one. Nearly no one will ever see the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And sometimes why people actually do the banners is they'll have like a banner for all products. Then the next banner is like pants. The next one's like shirts or whatever, right? And they're important categories and no one will see them. So what you want to do is that one banner and then have a collection list underneath where it's like all products, pants, whatever, because people will actually see that. All right, the next one, optimize your images. So yeah, this is a really important one. A lot of people don't realize this, but you want to make it as small as possible, the file size, with still having good quality. You can make them really small and have really bad quality, but this is really important that the file size is small, but it still has good quality. If you're like the max, like insane camera, and then you load it into your banner, that's probably going to slow down the website a little bit. I can make another video about this or talk about it in my school group. Link below. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. All right, number 3, keep your site lean and nimble. Smaller, well-maintained sites tend to load faster. Yes, this is the case, which I was sort of talking about before. One thing about like when we build websites, for example, is the websites we build that get 90 plus out of 100 on mobile are basically nothing. There's basically nothing on the website. And you want to keep it lean and nimble, but you also want to follow a lot of the things that I've talked previously in this video. Number 4, improve performance with pre-connects and preloads. So you can preload images and things like that. A lot of people don't realize that you can do this. A lot of templates don't actually do this either. If you want to learn more about that, let me know in the comments. Number 5, keep your site lean and nimble. I'm pretty sure that was the heading for number 1 or 2. This is sort of what I've been saying before, like why do an audit like once a month sort of thing. Do you pay for this app? Does anyone still use it? When should we load it? And where should it be executed? Yeah, so basically once a month, just go back through, check all the apps you're using, run a speed report through your website, things like that. Which are sort of, it's funny that I've sort of talked about some of these things already. All right, number 6, improve rendering times by falling back to web fonts. This is a hard one to have a discussion with clients sometimes because they have, let's just say you have a really nice logo, for example, and the font is some custom font or something like that that Shopify doesn't have, that most people don't use on the websites, things like that. This is going to slightly hurt your speed performance having custom fonts because it has to load the new different font sort of thing. So if you want to have like a custom font, I get it. You want it to match the logo, all this sort of stuff. So can we have a trade-off here if you want to do that? Basically, the trade-off is use your custom font for your headings and then use a very simple body font. That will be a lot better if you do something like that. If you really want to have that custom font, I recommend you don't have any custom fonts. Keep it simple. Try to find a font that's similar to your logo, but doesn't have to be the same. But if you 100% want that, have the custom font for the headings and then use a simple font for body font. I'm not really going to go over this, but you can go to the document and click this button. There'll be more details. Number 8, don't underestimate the importance of page weight. Correlations show the bigger the HTML page, that's the code basically on the page, the slower they tend to be. So monitoring the size of the HTML, the code, we recommend setting a budget such as 100 kilobytes and continuously monitoring how you do against it. If you add code that takes you above the threshold, consider removing something before pushing that new feature. All right, so this goes back to the balancing act that I was sort of talking about. A lot of people over bloat their pages. So a lot of the times the reason why it actually happens is because people are confused on what they should put in places. So they put everything everywhere. And for example, like a homepage, super important page, people might have like 30 section blocks on the homepage, and it's like it's got absolutely everything. And what I sort of like to think is if there is something really important that you want to tell someone, and don't have it all on your homepage, have a link to another page where it talks about it. Have a little quick little 1 or 2 sentences, one image, like an image with text, and then it links back to another page instead of having like 10 paragraphs, 3 different images on your homepage and stuff like that. Most people aren't going to read it anyway. So if you want to have it very quick, straight to the point, and then go to another page, there is some pages where you might have to overbloat it a little bit. Like maybe there's a really cool story that makes sense that you have like a pretty big about page sort of thing. Sometimes we recommend having like 3 or 4 image with text, a video, maybe like a discount for reading the about page. Then underneath that, maybe have the popular categories, best-selling product, gallery, things like that. Whatever sort of makes sense. If you're like, oh, I think I should put it here, you probably shouldn't. Like, you should just put what you really think people are going to want. And like I said, I can help in that community, or you reach out, do a free store audit. We can do that. All right, I really like this line they've put here. Seriously consider the trade-offs between features and performance. Shopify provides some tools that allow brands to detect performance damage, and we plan to continue improving them to support their app choices in the future. So like I sort of said, it's basically a balancing act between what converts and what's fast. This is another case study, so you can pause it here and read it if you want. All right, this might be important. The impact of speed on the bottom line. The faster your site, the better you can serve customers. That includes people abandoning slower competitor sites. This is interesting. 0.1 second increase in site speed increased conversions by 8.4%. These consumers spent almost 10% more in a single fast loading session. That's pretty cool. Don't underestimate customer expectations. When it comes to site performance, expectations are high. 64% of customers who are dissatisfied with the site are less likely to return. That's pretty cool. 46% will do the same after just one bad experience. 1 in 4 who are dissatisfied with their site visit will shop elsewhere next time. This is very, very interesting, all these stats here. There's one thing I like to think about, I've talked about it here and there, is the love factor. In 2017, Kylie Cosmetics was the fastest growing Shopify website in the world, and its load speed was very slow. Like, it used to load very slow. And the thing about that website is that, think about Kylie, millions of people love her, sort of thing, right? So when you're a really big business, so sometimes people look at really big businesses, right? And they're like, oh, I can do this on my website or whatever, sort of thing, right? And her website's loading super slow, and it's the fastest growing Shopify website in the world. And the main reason is because when people love you, they will wait. You basically could have a banner saying, I don't like my customers. It could take 15 seconds to load. Only one link works to the checkout, and people will find that link and check out. When you're just starting out, you can't get away with a lot of these things. So you want your site to be fast. You want it to be a good experience. You want to have those things that help convert people into customers. So that's why I always go back to, it's a balancing act, basically. All right, so that's basically the end of the document. Like I said earlier, if you want a free video review of your website, there's a link below going over tips and suggestions to improve conversions. When you fill out that form and you're interested in me doing an audit on your speed, just say, can you do a speed audit as well? And I'll send that over to you completely free. I've done 2,000 of them now. There'll probably be a video or link about the free audits that we do as well.